pole. Jeff Gordon, a 6-time winner here. Let's.
The twilight's last gleaming. Who's
a desire to try to carry on Dale Earnhardt's desire, you might say, thought process and work toward each other.
Well, let's see how Clint Boyer likes his new car. Hey, Clint Boyer, it's your campaign manager, DW here.
Around. Jeff Gordon coming as Kenny Schrader up on the high side. Gordon could not make the pass. Wisely backs out of it. He'll wait and try again.
Every car goes through a cycle. You'll have optimum grip
in that race Friday night.
Jeff Gordon is the Nextel Cup point leader. Right now he's running in 9th place. Steve?
Mike, he's done a great job with this new race car with the wing on back. He's finished 3rd, 2nd, 1st, and 4th. But right now, Mike, he is really struggling. He's telling crew chief Steve Letarte, I'm sideways loose and I feel like I'm spinning out every lap. Steve said, hang on for that competition caution on lap 40.
Well, he looks like most of the field. If he's half sideways in a conference, he said if nothing else works out, we can run the team out of Junior Motorsports.
Yeah, I mean, he told me that. He doesn't want to, but he could.
Tony Stewart has climbed up into the top 10. Smoke started 26th, but he was picking them off very steadily before the competition yellow. Goes right after Greg Biffle and goes on by.
Yeah, his car is awesome right now, Mike. I mean, he can do things with that car I haven't seen anybody else do. High, low, he goes in on the apron. Doesn't really have to use the slide job, just kind of drives on by. And he's working on Jeff Gordon right now, and I think you'll see down here he'll cut right under him, and Jeff kind of knew that was coming, blocked him a little.
This may be a line-sensitive racetrack, but Tony's never been a line.
I'm feeling, I think, you know, we got a little bit too much camber or something in that right front. When I'm on the brakes and the front end's down, it cuts too good. When I'm not, you know, it's a little tight. We put a little air in the right front to try to make it not so sensitive on the brakes. Let me know if that helps it or not.
When he puts the brakes on, the front goes down, and as the front travels down, it increases the camber, which puts more camber in it. And so what he's saying is, and that edge of that tire is like a knife. It digs into the racetrack, and it'll make the car cut, but too much, and you'll tear the tire up.
Jeff Gordon just in front of Newman. In 9th, Gordon 10.5 seconds off the lead, and it's what you see right here on Jeff Gordon's Chevrolet and on every one of these cars. If you draw a line right down the center of the car, what's to the left looks exactly like what's to the right. They're symmetrical, and they look most like the cars in the showroom from that angle.
And that was another one of the reasons this new car has come about, mainly because of safety, but to try to make cars where they were more standard and looked a lot alike.
Say mission accomplished there.
We do need to make note that
Jeff Gordon there at 7th. He is the Nextel Cup point leader and would leave here based on positions right now by 197 points. Jeff Gordon is the Nextel Cup leader. He is 7th in the race right now, Steve. 10.5 seconds off the lead.
Yeah, Mike, he's a 6-time winner at this racetrack. Now, interesting, as Darrell pointed out, you've got to be careful in this part of the race. Jeff Gordon saying his car is too tight getting in the corners and on late exit, which is the exact opposite of what his race car was doing earlier in the race. Expect him to pit on lap 181. And his crew chief, Steve Letarte, said, Jeff, we've got half a race to fix it. Be patient.
And because of the abrasiveness of the racetrack, when we started this, we noted the track didn't have any rubber in it. This track continues to rubber up, and it really gets slick, and you've got to constantly be adjusting.
We picked the ball up. You go back to Bristol, Tony Stewart and the fuel pump cable. Go back to Phoenix, Denny Hamlin speeding on pit road. Go back to last week at Richmond, Kevin Harvick, the accident on pit road. All those cars looked like they could compete with these Hendrick cars. They fumbled. The Hendrick cars did not.
Steve, how about our point leader then? That's one of those Hendrick cars, Jeff Gordon, who's in 4th place.
Mike, they've been chasing this racetrack most of the day. They started loose, then he went to the tight side. Now Jeff just said they're loose everywhere. Crew chief Steve Letarte said, Tet 4, you're doing a great job. When you hit pit road, we're going to make a track bar adjustment and adjust the air pressure.
Tell you what they better be doing. They better be planning ahead. I tell you why. I'm seeing a lot of blue skies starting to show up here. Before this race over with, the sun's going to be shining. It's going to change everything.
Yes, sir. She'll start losing more.
Going to tighten this 24 car up just a bit. They're going to make a chassis adjustment. They made an air pressure adjustment. Jeff's saying the car was a little bit free, but it really started to get fast. Dick.
And Newman top of the day.
To do well at Darlington, you must first finish, and that is a concern of Jeff Gordon's right now, Steve.
It sure is, Mike. He just told the crew that the water temperature was up to 260 degrees, and they thought that it might cool down once the race restarted, but it has not. Jeff Gordon very concerned about it.
And I think that's been one concern about this new car. I think this is the first real challenge, Darrell, with the new front end openings down there above that splitter that Jeff Hammond talked about, keeping these things cool, especially with all that rubber going in there.
I won't necessarily lay it on this car. I mean, it is a problem, I believe, to some degree, but that's a problem we've had here for years.
Absolutely.
New car, old car. The sand and the dirt and the debris here really packs the radiators. Once the thing starts to get hot, about all you can do is bring it in.
And we're getting a report that Steve Letarte, the 24 car Jeff Gordon just talked about his overheating, that they have brought their cool down machine to the pits. It's a machine through quick disconnects that they can cycle all the hot water out of the radiator and engine and put cool water back in should they feel the need to.
Yeah, they're going to have to make a call here before long. You cannot cook the engine. If you cook that engine, you're done for the day. Take a chance on losing a lap or so. At least you still finish the race.
Jeff Hammond, what leads to overheating here?
Mike, what we've been talking about, we know the rubber can go through the front grille, and what it eventually does, Mike, is this real fine rubber right here, as you see coming out of my hand, it gets into the radiator, into the fins. This is where the air goes through that actually cools the water. Once these fins get stopped up, all of a sudden the air is not flowing and the radiator is going to overheat. And if the 24 actually has an overheating problem, they may be able to cool the water down, but if they don't blow these fins out of that number 24 car, it'll continue to overheat for the remainder of the race.
Yeah, Jeff, what they might can do if they indeed raise the hood, if they feel the need to, is while they're cooling the water down with the radiator cool down machine, is take an air hose from the back side and blow the rubber back out of the fins of the radiator possibly.
Concern continues for Jeff Gordon, that 24 car. Water temperature still around 260 degrees. They're going to pull tape off as they do right now and work on that grill. Dick.
For the moment, but there apparently is a problem with Matt Kenseth's car. Let's check in with Dick Berggren.
A little parlay going on between Steve Letarte and the engine brain trust at the 24 car, so I think they're trying to figure out also about their heating situation. And Steve is sitting there talking to Jeff Andrews, one of the head engine builders there, and trying to figure out, you know, what are we going to do about this if we're taking the tape off doesn't help.
Let's go back to the start of things.
There's a contact here on the restart between the 24 and the 12. Not sure what created this issue. See the 24 there, he runs into the back of the 12. Maybe he's trying to knock some of that debris out of his grill. I'm not sure.
But Darrell, do you think maybe the 12 was like boxed in there behind the 17 and the 20 getting off into one?
I think the 17 said, I'm going to let this 20 go because I know he's going to be fast. He rolled out a little earlier than probably Ryan expected, and Jeff tapped him. No harm. It's one thing another thing I like about this new car is that the way the bumper and rear bumper and front bumper line up, it didn't spin him out. It just shot him forward a little.
Brian Newman and Jeff Gordon going past there in the 24. The report is the car is no longer overheating. Whatever had attached itself to the screen at the splitter that gets air to the radiator has dropped off, and Gordon's engine temperature is okay.
Yeah, I saw. You can see, look, right there, they took a big piece of tape off of that thing last time in, and it's really helped it.
Fourth place.
A car snug. If it's snug, that's okay. Where you crank on the wheel, maybe it doesn't turn immediately, but it does turn. That's what you really want. What you don't want is when you turn it and it just keeps on going straight. Then you got a problem.
We'll have at least one more pit stop, though, to make corrections.
Yeah, everybody was on pit road at lap 256. By my calculations, if we stay green, they're going to be back on there between 310 and 315. That will actually get them to the end of the race. But going back to Tony Stewart in the 20, you see Steve Letarte, Jeff Gordon's crew chief. But back to the 20 car, he's got the fastest car. Right now, and
Jeff Gordon closing in.
When you saw it, did you see what Jimmy did to the 11 down here in turn 1? He did the crossover move.
Steve?
Jeff Gordon's still somewhat concerned about the hot temperatures. They may pull some more tape off the nose of that number 24, Mike. Definitely 4 tires. Tape comes off. Let's go to Dick.
Ryan Newman dropped from first place to 5th place with the car that got in.
The 24 car had a pretty good stop. You see Steve Letarte in that group. They get him out there, gains a position. He goes out second behind his teammate Jimmy Johnson.
And Jeff Gordon's lead. See if all the lead cars come into pit road this time. Steve.
Mike, on the last stop, tire carrier Mike Houston tried to get that tape off the front. Jeff Gordon's engine looked like it's running hot right now. They're going to try and get the tape again on this stop. Jeff said we won't make it if we don't get that tape off. This time, they do. Dick.
Ryan Newman pits out of the 4th position. They're going to make a minor change.
Larry,
Wow.
Jeff Gordon will never make it. The car is running too hot. It's got steam pouring out of it.
Yeah, advantage or disadvantage.
I thought Jeff Gordon had the car to win this race with, but now I'm not sure with that.
Whether it's going to make it or not. I said we go out, get all we can. If we come in, we're going to be, I don't know, 25th or something on the lead lap.
And you could almost see all of the tape is gone off of the nose. I mean, there's nothing else they can do as far as that.
Well, they tried to get that right side piece of tape earlier, and the tire carrier tried to grab it, couldn't get it. Jeff took off.
Yeah.
This time, they do have that grill clear.
That's just too much.
Yeah,
it won't quit. And when it's doing that, I mean, I know these things have systems in them that they can run them hotter than we're probably accustomed to, 260 maybe. But when it's steaming like that, that's not a good sign at all, as we well know. It has improved, as you can see. Maybe you can get some enough air in there, and who knows? It's tough.
Temperature, still half temperature.
Jeff Gordon has finished on the lead lap the first 10 races of 2007. You heard the chirp. It's time for our next getting it done call of the race.
Well, I'm going with the 24 car. I know what you're going to go with, Larry.
I'm going to go with that 12 car right there. Ryan Newman, Mike Nelson, the new crew chief for that car this year. They have not had a top 5 finish at an oval with this 12 since Daytona of February, just like Nextel.
Well, I'm going to go with the 24 for the very obvious reason. If they can get this thing to the finish, they got a little tape off, helped it, got a little more off then. If they can get it to the finish, that'd be a great job. What, these 2 guys up front here, the 48 and the 24. Guys, I believe if that 24 doesn't blow up or get too hot, Big Daddy is on the prowl.
He is in waiting, isn't he? I tell you who really does not like these cautions, because it seems like that's when they're having the most problem running the hottest without air going through the front end is Jeff Gordon, the 24.
Hey, guys, that's exactly right. Jeff Gordon says the moment he slows down, the water pressure shoots back up. He wants this race. He wants it to stay under green. When he accelerates, it gets out there in basically clean air. He's fine. He doesn't like these caution laps.
Steve looks pretty. That's Steve Letarte, his crew chief. He looks pretty calm right now, though. He doesn't seem to be panicking, and that's good. I think that's pretty good news.
Start. We got a little cat and mouse going on. Jimmy Johnson in the 48 came to pit road. His teammate Jeff Gordon in the 24 and Newman in the 12 stayed out. Looks like about a split decision with just 5 laps on those tires right there.
Even with 23 laps to go, Mike, fresh tires here, especially sticker tires, mean everything, and that's exactly why the 48, as well as the 2 of Kurt Busch. Busch, he wants to free it up some more. That's one more shot to the finish. Great run, though, by both the 2 and the 48 teams. Dick?
Well, Ryan Newman was told to do what the 24 did. That's exactly what he did. Newman stayed out.
You know, of all the cars you think would have pitted under this caution, Jeff Gordon sitting there spewing water, don't you think they would have come in and tried to cool it down?
I think there's nothing they can do. I think they've decided we're going to run it. If it blows up, it blows up.
You'll see right here now, you'll see the 48 car pulled down to pit. Looks like the 24 is going to go with him, but he got back out on the racetrack before that commitment cone that Carl Edwards did not get back earlier in the race.
From the Goodyear blimp, here's how it looked.
Boy, you can see that steam pouring out of that 24 car. That just can't last. I don't know if that can last to the end of the race or not.
And it was just reported the 12 stayed right in the tire tracks of Jeff Gordon. You notice Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 stayed out as well.
It's got to last 22 more laps. Steve.
Yeah, Mike, just listening to Jeff Gordon and Steve Letarte, Jeff said water is spewing out of this thing. I don't know if it's going to make it. Also want to point out that when the caution came out, Steve Letarte said, stay out, stay out. I've been wrong before, I may be wrong now, but let's stay out. And Jeff Gordon never questioned his decision. He has total confidence in his young crew chief.
Now, Steve, his best friends may be those other cars that stayed out. We talked about Ryan Newman, Dale Earnhardt Jr., but Sterling Marlin, Mark Martin, and Martin Truex Jr. also stayed out. So there's several cars between the 24 and the 48 right now.
So guarantee you, with his situation and everything the way it is, I'd have stayed out too. I think that's a great call. I think that's going to really pay off.
Jimmy Johnson, the first car out of the pits, will restart 7th.
He's out front. He's going to have clean air. That's going to be real crucial to getting that thing to stay cool enough to make it to the end.
Let's set you for this restart. We have 20 laps to go. Jeff Gordon, who came in here as the point leader, is the race leader in his DuPont Chevrolet, which is overheating.
Boy,
Ryan Newman trying to break a long drought to victory lane in the Penske Alltel Dodge is second. Dale Earnhardt Jr., the Budweiser Chevy, for DEI third. Sterling Marlin for Ginn Racing in the Waste Management Chevy.
Darrell, I'm not so sure that Jeff Gordon didn't make a smart move there. Let Kevin Harvick go. He's 2 laps down. I'm not going to sit here and fight him. And because Jimmy Johnson right now, he's backed up by a bunch of lap cars back there in that 48 car.
Yeah, but if I was Jeff, I'd want that clean air, man. I'd want all the air I could get on my grill. I wouldn't want anybody in front of me throwing anything up in front of me, making it worse. And
not what Steve Letarte wanted to see.
Dadgum. Nothing's going my way today.
And Darrell, the thing about it is those guys that stayed out, they've made their bed now. They're committed.
Yeah.
Pack your pit stuff up.
Here's another thing that worries me about that 24 car. I don't see any more steam.
Well, that either means there's no more
Anything
water.
you don't need to run, guys, shut it off.
Or it's cooled
Any
down.
blowers, anything you don't need. Every amp jaw hurts.
Wondering about electrical
For the
draw.
fan, leave the electric fan running. I'm just saying, you know, tire blowers, all that stuff, please.
Watch some of this 3-wide racing we just had. Desperate men do desperate things.
Uh-oh, it's back steaming again. Stanley is steaming again.
But you know what, guys, in their defense, they're doing exactly what they need to be doing. Just stay out there and run the thing. I mean, no matter what, he's not going to lose the points lead, maybe even increase his points lead if this thing will get to the end.
Heck yeah, he's got a 200-point lead. It's not about points today.
Free pass to Kevin Harvick. Let's see if there's any steam rising down at the Hollywood Hotel.
Right, there's always something hot going on down here, Mike. In fact, 9 top 10 finishes for Jeff Gordon this year. Part of the reason he is the points leader and has finished every lap along with Matt Kenseth, the only other driver to do that. That may be in jeopardy the way his car is looking. You were watching Casey Mears' car overheat as well.
Yeah, I was watching Casey Mears' car, and what happened to him when they came in the pits, they started to put some water in it. Next thing you know, it wound up, you know, basically breaking the engine right there on pit road. David Streamy had the same issue, but the good thing about it is he's at least still steaming, so that means there's some kind of water still in that engine, and that's the key thing right now. Larry was talking about it, Darrell was talking about it. As long as you're making some steam, that means there's at least some water in there to boil.
Well, as Mike said, when it wasn't there for a moment ago, it's like maybe we're out of the water.
Well, the thing is that when it cools down, like he keeps saying, he keeps sticking his nose out, even out behind the pace car, trying to get as much cool air to it as possible, and that's going to be what's going to make the difference right now in this 24 car. If he can get on down there toward the end, he might be able to hang on, but as Steve Letarte's already said, the die's been cast. We got to let it roll, baby. We're just going to stick out there and run it till it breaks.
I mean, you've got the Hendrick cars who have dominated the new car, NASCAR's car. On Saturday, 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific, in high definition. It's a rivalry weekend. Yankees and Mets. Also, White Sox and Cubs. You can check local listings for the game and start time in your area. Remember, 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. The pregame show, Jeannie Salasco, Kevin Kennedy with all the baseball news. So, Jeff, let's take a look. If it's not a Hendrick car, we talked about this at the start of the broadcast, who would it be?
Well, right now, you got to believe that Ryan Newman's in the best place, and then followed by Dale Earnhardt Jr., because Ryan's been so good all day long, and he's going to be putting a ton of pressure on Jeff Gordon right now. But Dale Earnhardt Jr., I know he wants to win so bad after what happened this week, so he may be driving like a man possessed.
And not a single file restart at this point. Let's rejoin Darrell, Larry, and Mike.
Perfect timing for Kevin Harvick. He passed the leader on the left.
They're both going to make it back to the top 10, look like, as we go green, and Jeff Gordon takes off.
And he cleared that lap down car of Jeff Green in the 66. Now Ryan Newman will clear him. Still with Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jimmy Johnson stacked behind him. Now they'll clear him down the backstretch.
Look at Hamlin.
I mean, Jeff Gordon just ran within a 1/10.5 of the fastest lap that he's run in this race. He just ran a 30.86. Jimmy Johnson 30.87. 11 laps to go.
Carl Edwards went 3 wide, and now Tony.
It's going to be too little, too late. Here goes the 48. He's going to look under the 12. He's got a run on him this time. Up turn 1 down here. Hamlin goes by the 12. Now can he chase down the 24? I don't think he can.
7 laps to go. Newman trying to hold on to third against Johnson. Kenseth closing in, and Carl Edwards and Tony Stewart.
Big Daddy and the Stanley Steamer are just checking on out.
Right now he's in that clean air.
He's right where he needs to be, Larry. That was the best call he could make. Get me out front, give me clean air. 6
to go.
And that time, pretty much Jeff Gordon in the 24, Denny Hamlin in the 11, their times mirrored each other. He's about 2 3/4 seconds behind the leader.
Ford side by side. Kenseth and Carl Edwards coming back toward the front. 5th place.
Let me tell you, I've seen Jeff Gordon when he was on a roll like he is right now. Don't ever bet against him. Reminds me of back in the early 2000s there when he was winning all those races, late 90s.
Kenny Wallace got into the...
I just think that laps are going to run out. There'll be 4 to go when they get back to the stripe. The last thing Jeff Gordon wants now, though, is a caution.
11's going to run out of time, and then 24 is going to run out of water, but it's going to be all about the right time for the 24.
You saw the interval closing, but with 4 laps to go, Hamlin would have to be half a second quicker per lap, and he is not.
He's making some gains, but it's just, I think Jeff's just being pretty careful right now. And look at Jeff's team, man. I mean, can you imagine that thing sitting there on the pit road, burning up the way it was? And here he is. He's probably going to win this race.
He pretty much has clean racetrack in front of him.
Don't worry about that mirror. 3 more, you got it, buddy. 3 more, you got it. It's not that windshield.
There you go. Great advice.
Talk to him, Letard. Talk to him.
Yeah, Mike, like you said, he needs about a half a second lap. Right now, all he's getting is about 2 to 3/10 a lap.
And Denny Hamlin, who led the most laps today, 179, the most laps by far, and who won the Busch race, may fall a bit short as Jeff Gordon.
Shannon's watching behind you, buddy. 2 more. You'll beat him.
Takes 2 to go.
Keep digging, buddy.
Everybody, keep digging, keep digging. You can just turn that on everybody's radio.
David Gilliland slow in the back straightaway.
Yeah, he went by here blowing up.
A lot of smoke.
Boy, Hamlin is going to get so close, but that's just all he's going to be able to do is get close.
Carl Edwards has caught Ryan Newman, and that's a battle for 4th place.
Good day for Carl after having that drive-through penalty.
A lot of smoke for Gilliland. No caution.
White flag in the air. 1 to go.
1 more, buddy.
Oh, man. Can you just... Denny Hamlin is sitting there. He's so close. Why couldn't there be 5 more laps?
I mean, he is closing ever so fast, but it's just not going to be enough.
He's going to be there, but that's it. He's going to run out of time.
Stanley Steamer running just fine.
Yes,
make it to the finish line.
Look at that thing coming across. Look at it steaming, still steaming.
Jeff Gordon and the DuPont Chevrolet win at Darlington. Hamlin 2nd, Johnson 3rd, and Newman holds off Carl Edwards for 4th by 2 car lengths. What a drive by Tony Stewart to get back to 6th.
And look at Jeff Burton, who pretty much was just barely...
Never give up, man. Never give up.
It's exactly right. Never give up. But Jeff Burton, who fought all day long to get back to the top 10.
That's the man right there. I tell you, I love that guy. He is on it.
It is Jeff Gordon's 7th Darlington victory. His 4th straight top 3 finish here. His 3rd win of 2007, and make that 3 out of the last 4 races.
And you know what? There was a time when I didn't know if Steve Letard and Jeff would ever be on the same page. But, man, now that they are, whoa, woe be unto everybody else.
She's still steaming.
I got to figure that out. I never saw a car steam like that and finish a race. That thing's been doing that, Larry, for the last 40, 50 laps.
Like you said, as long as it's steaming, it's still got water in it. That's a good thing.
You don't see that very often. Smoke coming out of the tires and the radiator all at the same time.
In 5 NASCAR races with the new car, the Impala, Jeff has finished in the top 4 in every one of them as he scores his 78th career Nextel Cup victory.
And you know what? An attaboy to our fans here at Darlington. Not only did they weather the storm last night, they're role models for our fans at Phoenix and Talladega.
Jeff Gordon will steam his way to victory lane, and so will we. Right after this.
Man, great job. Hey, I got to say thanks to all the guys at the engine shop, man. I can't believe that thing lasted. Unbelievable.
What a day for Jeff Gordon. And what a win for the whole Hendrick Motorsports team. Chris Devota's in victory lane.
As Jeff Gordon is on the cell phone here in victory lane, Mother's Day weekend, and he is the one who woos the lady in black. He was shaking his head in bewilderment as he pulled into victory lane. And his DuPont Chevrolet actually gave a pop as it entered victory lane. You're Old Faithful at this track, and this car was Old Faithful. It was a geyser out there. Can you believe that it lasted?
That's the way you win races right there. What an awesome race team. These guys in this DuPont Chevrolet Impala. And obviously the first people I got to thank is the guys at Hendrick Engine Shop, because there's no way that thing ever should have made it. I mean, we were pegged on all the gauges. You know, when you see the water pressure go up that high and it's spewing out water, there's no way that thing should make it. We knew temperature and all that was going to be a real issue here at Darlington. We had our hands full today. I'll tell you what, it wasn't pretty, but there at the end we had a great car. Just didn't have the track position. Jimmy Johnson had it, and those guys came in the pit. You know, it's just a great call by Steve Letarte. What an amazing year we're having. You know, this is so much fun. I'm just having a blast. I got to thank DuPont and Pepsi and Nicorette and, you know, GMAC, all the folks at Georgia Pacific. And, you know, it's just, man, we're just having a lot of fun right now. Quaker State as well. It's just unbelievable when you win races like this.
And you had the cell phone in the car. Who were you talking to? What was the call?
Oh, that's the boss man. The boss man, you know, it's so awesome to get a chance to talk to Rick in victory lane. Wish you were here, buddy. And I think he's got to be extremely proud. You know, he prides himself on our engines, not just horsepower, but reliability. And that was a true reliability test of Hendrick engines.
And we were listening in. He told Rick Hendrick the same thing he told us. That is the way you win races.
Thanks, Chris. To never give up. That's how you win at Darlington. It's how you...
You know, Mike, I thought the day of dominance was over. You know, I thought with parity and this new car, I didn't think we'd see one driver win 10, 12, maybe even more races. Jeff Gordon is on a trail this year to win a lot of races and run away with this championship. So this new car is playing right into their hands, looks to me like. And his car is red hot, and nobody else's is doodly squat.
And don't forget, he's banking those bonus points, 10 points per win, getting to the chase for the Nextel Cup, the final 10 races.
There's already 3 wins for Jeff Gordon. He had only 2 all of last year. Other drivers may not have handled that car overheating so well in the final stages.
Well, I think he and Steve Letarte right there. I mean, Steve Letarte told us to stay out. He didn't question him. They had the confidence in the engine program, and Jeff does what he does best. When you put the pressure on him, he hit his marks when he counted. He knew Denny Hamlin was coming, but he did not, guess you might say, wilt under the pressure.
And Steve Letarte, his young crew chief, turns 28 years old tomorrow, and early happy birthday to him. Overheating water that Jeff Gordon was able to ride through and capture the checkered flag. And these are the point standings at the moment. Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, as we said, and they came in. Jeff certainly came in as the leader.
But you go back and look at what Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson are doing. They're banking the bonus points right now. That's really going to pay off when we get back to Richmond later on for an opportunity to kind of like climb back and get in that coveted 12th position.
In 2 weeks, we'll be at the Coke 600 in Charlotte on Fox. Next week, baseball, Saturday, 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. Some great matchups. Producer Dot Landis, whose son Barry is our producer. Ruth Zions, whose son Richie Zions is the co-producer.
I'd like to say hello to my mother, Nancy. Happy Mother's Day, Mom.
Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. Chris Myers for our entire crew. Thanks for being a part of NASCAR on Fox.